Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Harman, good morning. Hello.
Good morning. Shall I start?
Yes, Harman, please.
All right. Okay. Friends, thank you very much. And I would like to invite, to welcome you all to the Asia Pacific Regional Buffer process. The Farmers Forum, actually, we began this process globally in 2006. And now, after that, after several meetings conducted every other year in Rome, the Farmers Forum, the steering committee, and the people decided that we need to organize this regionally. So this is our Asia and Pacific Regional Farmers Forum. So we held this forum 2 times in Asia, one in Indonesia, Yogyakarta, and also second time in Bangkok. Now this is the third time that we come to the stage that we organize it in virtually. In that we. Okay, friends, can you mute yourself? Right, thank you. So in that we have our program today. We begin program, and we have very important matters to discuss because we are coming to the next FAFO Global program in February 5 to 10. No, 10 to 13. So in that, we need to be prepared. We need to be, as a region, we need to go forward with well-prepared regional body. So in that, we are here today, and we are about to start this program with the remarks from various FAFO steering committee representatives. There are 7 altogether from AFA, INOFO, LAVIA, PFON, WFF, WFO, and WFFP. So in that, I think we have around 15 to 18 countries represented here in this forum. Maybe Esther will give more understanding about that in her remarks. But for the first session, we have around 20 minutes for the opening, and from each forum they get 2 minutes. I hope that everyone will stick to 2 minutes and no more than that. Please restrict. We have to stop you if we have some extended input. So we are happy you all are here today, and we welcome you all. And also the 7 FAFO regional steering committee members, we invite you to share your views within 2 minutes. I invite first Altan Dua Sender from AFA first.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm Altan Tuyat Sedingish, a chairperson of Asian Farmers Association of Sustainable Agricultural Rural Development. So first, I would like to greet in my own language. So just to showcase that farmers are very diverse, and Sambeno is hello in our local language. So good morning or good afternoon to everyone, and happy and prosperous New Year of 2024. I'm Altan Tuyat Sedingish, as I told you before, but you can call me Agi, so it's the shorter version of my name. And I'm the chairperson of the National Association of Mongolian Agricultural Cooperatives, or we call it in short NAMAC. And our membership is composed of nearly 800 agricultural and small-scale cooperatives with around 200,000 members. And our members are mostly pastoralists, and also we have members who are doing the farming. And Asian Farmers Association for Sustainable Rural Development, or as everybody knows, AFA. So we have 22 member organizations in 16 countries with around 13 million small-scale women, men, young family farmers engaged in crop, livestock, fisheries, forestry, herding, and pastoralism. On behalf of AFA, I would like to welcome you all to the Asia Pacific Farmers Forum, or we call it FAFO. So the FAFO is the bottom-up process of consultation and dialogue between leaders and members of farmers and producer organizations, farmer organizations, and IFAD management and member states, with the aim of strengthening partnership between IFOS and IFAD. We thank IFAD for considering IFOS as a strategic partners in their work and of providing IFOS with direct financing that help build our capacity for policy engagement and effective delivery of services to our members. We are celebrating 20 years of FAFO processes at the global level this year. At the global FAFO next month, we will evaluate the partnership built over these 20 years, articulate the current needs of family farmers, then identify further areas for stronger collaboration. Today, the regional FAFO is special as what we will discuss here will be raised during the global FAFO. The effects of the climate change, the growing inequalities in the access and control of land and other key resources and facilities are threatening the very survival of agricultural communities. We need the strong support of institutions like IFAD to help us get the enabling policies and the adequate financing to scale up our work. We enjoin everyone to be active in the discussion of today. And thank you very much for being here and joining the regional FAFO. And good luck with this today's session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agi, and I think it's really eye-opening and really insightful remarks. So now I would like to invite Rowena Buena from Inofo.
Good day, everyone. I am Rowena Buena from the Philippines and from the Intercontinental Network of Organic Farmers Organization. So it is an honor to welcome the delegates of the Asia Pacific Farmers Forum. This gathering to discuss partnership, collaboration, sharing of best practices and innovation to empower farmers all over Asia. Inofo is grateful to be part of this discussion and collaboration, and we are a global network including farmers from Asia, the Pacific, North America, South America, and Africa that fosters a new connection among established associations of organic farmers to harness the potential of a bottom-up farmer-led approach. So Inofo is a self-organized structure within the International Federation of Organic Agriculture movement that aims to develop the well-being and prosperity of farmers throughout the region, especially in the face of challenge of climate change, issues of landlessness, suitability of technologies to the needs of the farmers. And this forum is a great opportunity for us to have the dialogue between farmers and IFAD representatives to collaborate on ways to help the farmers in these challenges. Through the years, Inofo engages in advocacy efforts to promote common goals related to food sovereignty, encompassing broader concerns such as public policy, farmers' land rights, climate adaptation, production standards and guarantee system, marketing and pricing negotiation, participatory research, training and exchanges, as well as education and other matters affecting farmers. Inofo's initiatives are very much aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals of the Food and Agriculture Organization and could contribute to the achievement of each through a stronger collaboration and partnership with IFAD and other farmers' organizations in the region. Inofo, as part of the steering committee of Farmers Forum, gladly joins the farmers in Asia to achieve its endeavor and is open to collaboration to develop organic farming activities or agroecology to improve farmers' livelihoods, continue to protect our environment, develop farmland, and help with the worsening problem of climate change. Again, good day, everyone, and we hope to have a very fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Rowena. That's really a great input. And now I would like to invite Sainal Arafin Fuad from Lavia Campesina to give his inputs.
Yes, thank you very much, Simon Komara. So, good afternoon to you all participants in the global FAFO. Sorry, in the regional FAFO. I think we are already in the global FAFO in next month. So thank you very much, and I'm glad to give the opening remark for this regional FAFO. Yes, we had last FAFO in Bangkok in 2022, and the time I attended virtually. So then we also know that in this year or today we still facing the multidimensional crisis. So it is important for us as a patient organization to discuss again, to decide, and what our solution, what our contribution to overcome this process, this crisis from our side. So I would like to inform you that in last December, Lavia Campesina conducted the 8th conference, and we had the theme of struggle of Lavia Campesina, that the thematic struggle is the visit with the global crisis, to build sovereignty, to ensure the future of humanity. It's important that we know that we are in the situation is still good enough. Referring to the report of FAO or SOFI 2023. So now in our continental, in Asia Pacific, there are still 371 million people with hunger in 2022. So this is not not a good track. So why, once again, I repeat again, how we can discuss to give input to IFAD about what our a solution. And then is also part of the reality that the number of the family farming is also decreased. So that's why on 23rd January, so the Joint Secretariat of our FAO and IFAD on UND family farming conducting the webinar about the future of family farming. So how the future, if we will disappear. But of course we know we already have tool of struggle. For example, and especially as we know, we have UNDROP, and also we already get the resolution of the UN Working Group on Right of Peasants. So that means in this year we will have five special reporter in all of the world, and one from Asia. So that means all farmer organization can support this specially portal, and also to work together how to implement UN drop link with the link with the water project of from IFAD. So that's very important, and hoping we have a good decision, good outcome of this regional farmers forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sainal. Now, I would like to invite Kyle Stees from PFON.
Yes, good evening from the Pacific. My name is Kyle. I'm the Executive Director for Pacific Farmer Organizations, and our network is in 14 Pacific Island countries, north and south of the equator. And we are very happy to join together with our Asian counterparts to talk specifically about the constraints, but also the opportunities, and also to explore together with IFAD how we can build on the strong foundation that has been laid through a number of investment initiatives supporting farmer organizations. So thank you to all of my colleagues, and we're looking forward to the deliberations.
Thank you, Kyle. That's really concise and very precise. So thank you very much for the time. May I invite Ujeni Halim of World Forum of Fish Workers and Fish Harvesters?
Yeah, thank you, Herman. I hope I'm audible. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year to all of you. A very warm welcome to this regional Farmers Forum, Asia Pacific. I am Ujjani Halim. I am from India, and I represent World Forum of Fish Harvesters and Fish Workers, WFF in brief. WFF is an international organization that brings together small-scale fisher organizations for the establishment and upholding of fundamental human rights, social justice, and culture of artisanal and small-scale fishers and fish harvesters, affirming that the sea as source of all life and committing themselves to sustain fisheries and aquatic resources for the present and future generations to protect their livelihoods. So we work globally, and in Asia also we have our members. I belong to the Asia Coordination Committee of WFF, and also that way I am participating in the Global Steering Committee of FAFO and the Asia Pacific Secretariat of the regional FAFO. So once again, warm welcome. We all know when in 2016, when Global FAFO decided to go for decentralization, all these regional structures have emerged. And we are very happy, particularly about Asia Pacific platform of the regional FAFO, as this has become a very vibrant platform for FOs to interact among us, and also to interact in a very constructive way with IFAD at Asia, different levels in Asia, and also at country level, at the national level. So in last years, we have since last regional FAFO in 2022, we as Asia Pacific regional FAFO members, we have been able to co-organize, participate in various events regionally, nationally, globally, with the help and support of IFAD, and at national level also, in many cases, we have been able to establish better connections with IFAD country offices and participate in IFAD projects and programs. So these, we believe, are quite successful achievements for this Asia Pacific regional FAFO process. One objective of this platform is certainly to bring FOs together and to establish a meaningful and regular interaction with IFAD in the region and also at the national level. So as we have achieved a lot in this regard, I believe that we need to reflect on our success, and we need to also further solidify, further consolidate our success and look for a future roadmap, future strategic roadmap. So we are at a very crucial juncture. Next month, there would be Global FAFO after 4 years. And today, as we are meeting in this Asia Pacific Regional FAFO, there are many emerging issues which are very important for the FOs, for the fishers organizations, farmers organizations, and all small scale food producers organizations, like climate financing, like safe and food security, food safety issues, like the capacity building of FOs, networking, FOs representation in value chain, and so on. And on top of that, also we need to further discuss how our engagement pattern with IFAD. There is already a policy paper, a draft paper on that, and that gives us an opportunity to further kind of strengthen our interaction strategically with IFAD at all levels in Asia and at the national level. So I believe today's discussion will usher further light on all these aspects, and will allow us to develop our collective position on how, as small scale food producers in Asia, we want to raise our common concerns, common voices, and how we want to develop our common roadmap for a better future and for a stronger future for FOs. And I believe this will not only strengthen the Asia Pacific Regional FAFO, but will also help us to contribute better in the upcoming Global FAFO. So with this small few words, once again, welcome all of you to this Asia Pacific Regional FAFO, and I wish you all a very productive discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. It's very comprehensive and very insightful input. Next, we have this Soksota from WFO and me from WFFV. Soksota, we have only 2 minutes as is requesting, so maybe you can take your 1 minute now.
Thank you, Chair, Mr. Chair. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evenings, dear ladies, gentlemen, and friends. My name is Sota. I am a board member of the World Farmer Organization for Asia, and I am very happy and I'm thrilled to be here with all of you today. And this is the third time since the Asia Pacific Regional Farmer Forum consultation launched in our regions after 2016 to expand more participants of the farmer specialists in the regions. So from the World Farmer Organizations, we have more than 70 national member organizations in 6 regions. From North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, Oceania, and South America. And we have several working groups, like food security working groups. We have the climate change working groups. We have value chain working groups. We have livestock working groups. We have cooperative working groups. We have innovation working groups. We have nature and biodiversity working groups. Among these working groups, we also have 2 committees, Women Committee and Youth Committee. And we also have 1 council of the scientists within our organizations. So we also worked on knowledge sharings with all the members in all the regions, and also advocates on policies to support members in all regions. The first Asia Pacific Regional Farmer Forums start in Yogyakarta, as some of our colleagues said earlier, in 2018, and the second ones in 2022 in Bangkok with a hybrid mode. Even we affected by the COVID-19, but we still afford to organize the regional forum in the Asia-Pacific region successfully. And we also expand more and more participation of farmers and national farmer organizations, and our voice heard loudly to the public, and more closures between farmer organizations and IFAD at the regional and at the country levels. I remember that in Yogyakarta, there was the signing of the first MOU between farmer organizations and IFAD in Indonesia with support from the government. As you know, in Asia Pacific, we represent about 450 million smallholder farmers, and they produce food actually that represent 80% to feed people in the region. And we have a joint statement as well together during the first forums in Asia, and we observe that, we learn that, we come closer and closer among farmer organizations.
Soksuta,
Yeah.
can you make it brief, please?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will finish soon. Among the farmer organization and IFAD, and we have in my own country, we have also the national farmer platforms, and we have good connections with IFAD to exchange our idea and between us and IFAD. And thank you. And finally, I would like to wish this Asia Pacific regional farmer forums with the best results, good discussions, and fruitful for our future roadmap. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Soksuta. I'm sorry about the disturbance, but it's with the interest of the time, so I had to disturb you. Anyway, now I am the facilitator and also the presenter of the World Forum of Fisher Peoples views here, or the remarks. So the World Forum of Fisher People is also a small-scale fisher peoples organization spread worldwide, and we have several continental fora from Latin American and Caribbean, also from Africa and Europe, as well as Asia and the Pacific. So we have already conducted our General Assembly last year virtually, and we had our office bearers selected for the coming 3 years' time, and we celebrated the International Year of Artisanal Fishes and Aquaculture 2022, which is one of the important landmark for the small-scale fishers, because we had several type of interactions among the people amidst the COVID. And by 2024, we are arriving at the 10th years of the adoption of SSF guidelines, which is very important instrument for the small-scale fishers, which is the only instrument which we are having to advocate our rights among the states and government. So we are fighting against this ocean grabbing and also the matters related to displacement, dispersion of the small-scale fishers all around the world. And we put forward our rights, mainly customary tenure rights is main focus of our attention. And we are working against this green, blue policies, which is coming from FAO and others, the International Final Institutes, against this blue transformation and many other aspects which also affect the small-scale fishers, their costs, their ecosystems, their livelihoods, their traditions, their way of life, and so on. So in that, we need more and more support from our friends all over the world, especially in this context Asia and the Pacific region, the farmers, herders, pastoralists, agricultural workers, women, and all these communities working on food production. So thank you very much for friends for giving this opportunity. And also, we need not to forget that this is a collaborative work. And of course, we are working with IFAD. And to finish this session, before we finish, we need to get the remarks from the IFAD office. So may I request Mr. Jerry Jin Paktoon from IFAD Task Manager for Asia Pacific Farmers Forum and also Asia Pacific Region Focal Point for FAFO. Jin, it's to you.
Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all participants in this Asia Pacific Regional Farmers Forum meeting. On behalf of IFAD, let me thank our FO representatives who have spoken earlier for their kind remarks, and let me welcome all of the participants to this virtual meeting. The conduct of this meeting at the heels of the Global FAFO Forum in about 3 weeks from now is very timely and a great opportunity for reflection and to prepare as a region for our key messages and inputs to the global meeting. It is also a good time to review the results and agreements from the Bangkok 2022 Regional FAFO meeting and to be able to plan forward for the next steps as a region and at country level. I am glad that for this meeting, my IFAD colleagues are in attendance, which is an indication of the commitment of IFAD to this IFAD-FO partnership. I am also happy with the very active participation of our dear FO leaders, and I thank the Regional Steering Committee for all their efforts to prepare for this meeting. I would like to extend also my appreciation to our IFAD PMI and ECG colleagues who, despite the time difference, are with us in this meeting, particularly Marco and Dilva, who will make their presentations later. The objectives that have been set out for this meeting are intended for both IFAD and FOs to share and learn from each other in order to better appreciate the challenges and opportunities for partnership in each of our organizations, take stock and consolidate our accomplishments, and to be able to move forward our collaboration in a more effective, vigorous, and outcome-oriented partnership that will ultimately benefit the thousands of farmers' organizations and the millions of smallholder members in the Asia-Pacific region. A number of thematic areas will be presented and discussed today, and we cannot overemphasize their relevance and significance to our dynamic partnership that is now transforming into a strategic collaboration. The 3-hour meeting may be short, but this is another milestone step in the IFAD-FO partnership that I urge everyone to continue the dialogue at region and especially at country level, because this is the manner by which we can enhance this partnership, this collaboration. So once again, thank you very much for your participation, and I wish you all a productive and fruitful discussions. Over.
Thank you, Jane, and that is end the session, opening session. And I think we took a little more time, but it's important that we all the representatives from 7 FAFO steering committee presented their views, and also from IFAD. So I think we had a productive time. I don't want to take much of the time because now we already passed around 10 minutes about the first session. So I would like to invite Saksota to facilitate the next session, which is understanding the PAFO process. Soksota, it's up to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanan Kumaras. Thank you. Once again, thank to everyone. I think something problems. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
something alert that thank you very much. So yes, the time is moving, so I try to make it short. So as you know, since early 2022, there are many meetings organized accordingly, including the IFAD 13 replenishments, and with very active coordination from IFAD, rural institutions, sustainable productions, market and institution divisions, strategy and knowledge departments. So the lead global technical specialist, Dr. Marco Comagni, I would like to invite Dr. Marcos to present about the IFAD's perspectives and on the FAFO's process stock takings. Dr. Marco, the floor is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, very good.
Thank
So
you.
many thanks for coming so numerous to this meeting. I have to say that I'm impressed by really the capacity of organizing in your region. It's really great to see this level of participation, and really looking forward to this discussion. So my name is Marco Camagni. I've been working for IFA for a long time in many different functions. I moved back from Latin America division and from the I was posted in Peru last year, and took over the role of, probably some of you know, Jean-Philippe Audinet, who was the lead global technical specialist for rural institutions at IFAD headquarters in Rome. So I took over in November last year. So basically it's a bit more than 1 year that took over this position. And one of the key roles in that position is really to work with you on the Farmers Forum and the whole work we do together on IFAD Farm Organizations Partnership. So this meeting is actually a key step in this process. First of all, what we call the Farmers Forum, we see it as a process. So just a little bit of history. This was started 20 years ago. Actually, this year we are celebrating the 20th anniversary, so it's quite an important achievement. Was started in 2004 as a result of a first meeting between representative farm organization, the IFAD president at the time. Then the following year, 2005, there was a first meeting organized, quite a small number of participants, but that was the kickoff of the process. And since then, we have been doing regular global meetings, initially every 2 years, then they were established every 4 years, because in between, since 2016, following the decentralization of IFAD, it was decided to also have regional meetings. And as many of you remember, last year, around September, October, you had your regional Farmers Forum meeting in Bangkok, which was the regional for Asia and Pacific. And this meeting is actually a continuation or a follow-up of that meeting in preparation for the global meeting of the Farmers Forum, which will take place in few weeks, 12 and 13 February in Rome, at IFAD headquarters in Rome, which will be the first after the pandemic. Basically, the last one was in 2020. And will be the 8th in total. So you can see there is a trajectory behind. Why this is important? Because the idea of this is that the Farmers Forum was established as a formal bottom-up process which allow a dialogue between farmers organizations, in general terms. Our definition of farmers organization is very broad because it does include only farmers, include livestock producers, include feature producers, include pastoralists. So it's a quite broad, youth, women. So it's a quite broad and inclusive definition. So we call farmers, but it's not just about farming. That's important to know. The second thing is an inclusive process also because we have all the regions are participating, and actually, in some region like Asian and Pacific, we have been really doing this since a long time. Maybe in other regions like North Africa and Central Asia, we have started more recently. So the level of engagement, of course, is different. So one of the purpose of this meeting is to basically take stock of what has happened in the partnership between IFAD and farm organizations, as I said, in the broad definition, during the past years, take stock of the good results achieved, take stock of lessons learned in the engagement, take stock of maybe challenges or areas for improvement, and at the same time, identify good practices, good models from one region that can be replicated in another region. And also, everything is related to one fundamental point, which I think we all share, which is that we strongly believe at IFAD that farmers' organizations, again, in their broad definition, are key actors, are key players in the rural space, in the rural areas, to promote rural development, to contribute to the sustainable rural development agenda. And they have a key role to play in supporting their membership with a number of areas, including in the management, access and management of natural resources, of course, sustainable and resilient production through technical services, access to market through marketing and value-adding services, negotiation with buyers. Of course, one of the fundamental, benefit is that farmers' organizations allow aggregation, allow economies of scale, which are extremely key, to be competitive in the agriculture markets. But at the same time, they provide other type of services, other type of support. For example, during the pandemic, it was very clear the role that farm organizations played in supporting in all sorts of needs their membership, going beyond their traditional role. And then, last but not least, a very fundamental role the farm organization play is in advocacy, in policy dialogue with governments, with other stakeholders. So all these functions is absolutely critical to promote rural development and rural transformation, which is really the objective of IFAD. So IFAD sees farm organization as a natural partner, as a natural entry point in whatever it does. And actually, we believe that by working effectively with farm organization, we can be more effective as IFAD in our mandate, in delivery against our objectives. And, this was quite apparent in the conversation for IFAD replenishment, which took place last year, in which farm organizations were deeply involved from the beginning. Actually, for the first time, they were involved from the beginning through a consultative participatory process. So farm organizations, together with indigenous people and user representatives, were very active in the dialogue with IFAD management, but also with IFAD member states. And they were sort of advocating for the role of IFAD as a champion for rural development, and advocating for this partnership between IFAD and farm organizations. So as I said, they are the central of our mandate, the central of our work. So it's actually a relationship between partners, between friends, I would dare to say, with some of you are being developing, a personal relationship beyond the professional relationship. So we are really working together. We have a common objective. And so this meeting is very important because it's an opportunity to prepare for the global meeting. Not all of you will be there. So, all the findings, the takeaways, the messages that are going to be gathering today are absolutely critical, because the representative of Asian Pacific division who will be there in Rome in a few weeks will be communicating and conveying these messages to the other colleagues, to IFAD management, and to IFAD member states. So there will be an opportunity also to share the main agreements of the global meeting with IFAD senior management and IFAD member states at the end, because the Global Farmers Forum is always held in conjunction with the IFAD Governing Council, which is the highest, let's say, body in the IFAD governance, with all the governments are participating. So you see, we placed the Farmers Forum close to the Governing Council. The summary of the conclusions are actually presented officially to the member states. So there is this idea of, taking this as a very serious, let's say, space for dialogue, but also relevant for the IFAD work. And so one thing we're going to present in the global meeting, which I will just anticipate to you, is an analysis which we call Partnership in Progress Report. Is actually an analysis which was prepared based on a survey which was circulated to you, to some of you, and to also IFAD colleagues and project management units of IFAD funded projects in the region, in every region actually, a survey which was basically trying to get a sense of what is the situation of the relationship in the region. And beyond the numbers, of course, there's much more richness of information. So if you want, I can anticipate to you some of the things will be presented in a very much more elegant and articulate way in few weeks. But just for you to get a sense of what we are talking about. For example, one thing was quite apparent is that we divide the level of participation. Please, Esther, you tell me when I am out of time. I have, if I may, I will take three more minutes to explain this concept about the PIP. But you tell me if I'm exceeding my time.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, so we divide the level of participation in basically three levels. So one level is basically there is no engagement of farm organization in IFAD processes at the country level. So I'm actually zooming now on the level of country level collaboration, which is a key one, as some of the speakers also mentioned before. So no participation basically means that, when IFAD formulates a country strategy, which is called COSOP in our jargon, or a new project, basically doesn't invite farm organizations, at least those that are part of the Farmers Forum process, in any meeting. That's no participation. Then there is a basic level of participation, which basically says that there is the invitation, so there is some sort of attempt to involve farm organization in the process, but this is not done systematically. Also, farm organization don't have a specific role in this. They are more like consulted, but that's it. While there is also an advanced level of participation where farm organizations are really, considered as a key, let's say, input provider into the process, and they even take a role in the process, like even contributing into the design of projects or making even really participating in missions, etc., etc. So that's kind of different level of participation, no participation, basic or advanced. This is analyzed and tracked over years. And, as a result of this, we have some statistics. So one thing we have observed looking at the data, and, the data are always, there is always a caveat that we have to apply, when we analyze the data, because you might have maybe data gaps, so maybe not everything is reported. So you need to take this as an input for a broader conversation. That's why I'm mentioning this now, to stimulate maybe your reaction and your feedback and to enrich basically the analysis. So for example, when you look at the APR, so the Asian Pacific region specific data, we observe that, for example, the participation over the years, over the last, let's say, period, in terms of quality has a little bit decreased. I mean, we have a less advanced participation, a bit more basic participation. I can tell you, for example, I'm making just a specific example just for you to understand. If we look at Cambodia COSOP, While in the period 2012-2015, there was an advanced level of participation, in 2020, 2023 was a basic level of participation. So somehow there was a less intense participation in that process. In the case of Indonesia, the same. Again, there was advanced level, which then in the last period was more at the basic level. Laos, on the contrary, there was an improvement. So it's a mixed picture. In Nepal, for example, again, was from an advanced level, went back down to a basic level. In Pakistan, apparently there was no participation. Again, maybe this is a mistake. We have to check. From advanced level went to no participation at all. In Vietnam, actually improved from basic level to advanced level. So you can see there is a little bit of mixed results. Of course, the sample is quite small because we are referring to few country strategies prepared during the 4-year period. So again, is quite subject to possible mistakes. But the reflection I would like to stimulate from you is really on what is your perception of this? Sorry, what is your perception from your point of view in terms of engagement, in your specific country with IFAD operations, with IFAD colleagues? To what extent you have been participating in the design or formulation projects and strategies? And the other element of participation is also in the implementation. This is a very important point. We basically believe, and there are some good examples in other regions that and it would be good to also collect and identify. I'm sure there are in APR. Good example of organizations that are participating also in the implementation of projects. In some cases, they even through delegation from governments, because as you know, IFAD-funded projects are implemented by governments. So some of these models are very interesting because there is a sort of tripartite agreement through which basically farm organizations have an implementing role in IFAD-funded projects. Either they are service provider for certain activity, or even in some cases they take on subcomponents, for example, projects. Again, on this point, there is a mixed result. I don't want to spoil the presentation in the global meeting, so I don't want to anticipate the number, but I can tell you that again in the APR figures we have a little bit of a mixed result there. Probably there are differences across countries. So maybe the reflection I want to stimulate with you is to really reflect whether there is anything that has changed during the past years, and if so, what has changed? Because this information is very useful, because when we are going to have the global meeting, we are going to reflect collectively on this, and we are going to try to draw some lessons and draw some recommendations as a result of this analysis. So it's very important that you have your own analysis from your region, which you can then share at the global level, and we can put together this analysis with the analysis of other regions, and we try to sort of come up with a consistent set of messages for IFAD FAOs, because again, we are partners in this. This is not just one side of the partnership. Both we need to collaborate in this. So I will stop here. I don't want to take too much time. Of course, I'm participating in the meeting, and I might intervene later on. But I hope it was clear. And Esther, tell me if I have to add anything else. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you very much, Marco Company. Thank you for your very informative sharing of the history of the global FAFOs, the initiative of these forums with farmers, farm organization, indigenous people, include pastoralists and many types of farmers. And thank you also for your recognition, farmer role as key role to produce food and rural developments, and our role as advocacy and rural transformation. And thank you for updating us for the upcoming events of the Global Farmer Forums in coming weeks, and as well as the new project design participation at the country level. And lastly, also the country strategic program support at the country level. Thank you very much. Next, I think the time is moving very fast. May I invite Esther Penunia to present about the FO perspective. Esther, please.
Hello, thank you very much, Sota, and good morning, good afternoon to everyone today. And I'm really very pleased with our attendance. We have 138 participants today. Please remember to register in the Google form that Irish has put in the link, and Irish has put in the chat. So but before that, I would like to ask colleague Irish, to flash we will have an online poll. So we would like to ask everyone to respond to the first question. How many global FAFO have you attended, no, as a participant, as a 0, 1 to 3 global FAFO, 4 to 6 global FAFO events, or 7 to 9 global FAFO events? And the second question, how many regional FAFO have you attended? You can answer either 0, you have attended nothing at all, and then, or 1 or 2 regional FAFO, because we have 2 regional FAFO at the present. So we will give you 1 minute to answer this question. Just click your response. Only 1 response per question. The poll is directed to members of farmers organizations and to IFAD as well. Yeah, to everyone who is here. I don't see any answer yet.
Esther submitted the answer. It should be shown.
Huh? Ujjaini?
Yeah, I have at least submitted the answer, the response. So as you see, you're saying that you can't see any.
I cannot see. Irish, just let me know if we have that, and yeah, okay. Good. Okay, thank you very much. So it is very surprising to see that there are a big number of participants here who have not attended any global FAFO event. No? That is very understandable, because in every global FAFO event, there are very limited slots, no, for every steering committee member in the global FAFO. There is in the second question, so majority also have not attended a regional FAFO, except perhaps this one, no, because you are all here. So so this just shows that we will need to also strengthen, no, the participation and inclusive process of our members in the global as well as in the regional Farmers Forum process. And I think virtual meetings will help, no, include many things. But just to give you our FO, no, perspective with regards to FAFO, we think of IFAD, no, we think of IFAD as a UN institutionalized agency who has a mandate to help improve food security and nutrition, improve climate resilience, improve incomes of family farmers, pastoralists, and fishers in the world. But they have member states. Their members are member states, but we are citizens of our countries, and thus IFAD saw that family farmers are through our organizations and cooperatives, we are key strategic partners, and the way that they provide opportunities and manifest their their respect to us as strategic partners is that they have opened the doors for participation in the many strategic decisions that governments at the national level and the IFAD at the global level can take. No, they open the discussion to us. And that is why we value this Farmers Forum process at national, regional, and global levels. We see IFAD also as a strong ally, and we see in our work to also improve the well-being of our members. So that is why we also engage, we make efforts to engage in strategic discussions, in debates, so that we could influence IFAD at all levels. We could influence the policies that our governments will enact, as well as we influence IFAD so that their financing and their money and their funds can also be directly accessed by farmers' organizations. As Marco has said, the levels of participation, the levels of engagement amongst farmers' organizations at national and global levels are varied, but we have this opportunity always in regional and global FAFO processes to strengthen the collaboration by identifying weaknesses and at the same time providing recommendations. And that is what we will always do in every Farmers Forum at country, regional, and global level. So we really hope that we could really actively participate in the discussions, especially in the next session, on session 3, where we have breakout groups at country level and then at sub-regional level to really make our inputs in terms of the kind of partnerships that we have with IFAD and the recommendations that we would like to have to strengthen our cooperation with IFAD. So back to you, Sota, and thank you very much. And Sota, maybe before we close, we could have a group photo.
Thank you very much, Esther, for a very brief and very important presentations of the FO perspective to the IFAD and the engagements among the farm organization, and development partner, and with IFAD especially, and also access farm organization to money and funding. Because the time is moving very fast, so I would like to end this, but I think we take a photo. Can we take a photo right now?
Yes, please. And Irish colleagues from AFA will.
Okay, so after taking a photo, I would like to invite Bingbo Winjati to continue after the photo. Thank you. So
Hi
everyone,
everyone.
Can you turn on your camera, please?
Yes, please turn on your cameras, everyone. And please smile for at least 5 seconds as we are in
Everyone,
over 6 pages. So hold your smile. Okay, 1, 2, 3, taking photos. Keep smiling. One last. Thank you very much, everyone.
Welcome.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and then we are going to the session 2 about the feedback on the IFAD FO partnership approach paper and on FAFO process at the national level and sub-regional level. We have 1 hour and 45 minutes, and then we have to stage of a break room. And then before we are going to the break room, we have to Asia Pacific Regional FAFO 2022 recommendation from Zainal Fuad from LVC. Please, Zainal Fuad from LVC, I would like to give you to give some recommendation to us before we are going to the break room. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Bibong. And I forget to say good afternoon to Kak Jin and also Marco. Nice to meet you here, and hoping we will meet in Rome in next February. So I will read the recommendation of the previous Regional Farmers Forum held in Bangkok. So I remember I joined it virtually, and the time we were in the situation where there was a war in Ukraine and Russia, and now we will conduct Global Farmers Forum in this situation the war and genocide in Palestine. So it is to remember what this situation, and also to be considered as the one input of this regional for to bring in to be brought in the Global Farmers Forum. I'm sorry, maybe Iris or Bernie, I cannot share screen to read the recommendation. I'm sorry, Bu
Okay,
Bibong.
we'll work on that. Okay, Irish. You are now allowed to share screen, Zainal.
Okay, thank you very much. Of course, with this share screen, we all can read the recommendation of the sorry there is problem in my laptop. Sorry, but waiting for my laptop is working. I refer to what
share
the
screen for you, Zainal. So if you can allow me, Irish, I'll share screen for Zainal.
yes, please.
You're allowed, Lan. Yeah.
It's on the screen now, Zainal. I think you can.
Okay. The screen. Yes, thank you very much. So, in number one, first is affected. Sorry, please content. Yes, number one. Yes, effectively facilitate the inclusion of FOs at IFAD's national level process, such as IFAD COSO processes, in the design, implementation, and monitoring of its country portfolio projects. It is the KM work facilitating FO government interaction and supporting their capability for policy engagement when needed. These have been in the joint FO IFAD statement in 2018, but the implementation of this commitment needs to be strengthened. Yes, I also want the comment about this. Yes, as the what Marco said about this issue on the next Global Farmers Forum. So this our challenge, Marco. I remember in 2006, I think Jean Philippe and also Sana Jata visited SBI office in Jakarta and discuss about how we as farmer organization actively to link with the COSOP, but by now is this still is not maybe in some countries, especially Indonesia, is not working. So we hope this competition will also be brought in the next governing body of the IFAD on 14 and 15 February. Second, the strengthen national and global farmers process, as well as support the farmers lead, design on the implementation of national and regional action plans for the UN Decade Family Farming. Yes, I also refer to the one outcome of the Committee of Agriculture held in Rome in last year. I was there, and then the one of the recommendation is that invited to invite FAO and IFAD to support this UN Decade Family Farming. So actually for this not only to invite but also to demand and maybe to insist IFAD can more active in supporting UN Decade Family Farming. Third, do not support any project that promotes genetically modified crops, land grabbing, unsustainable use of natural resources, and projects that treat farmers are mere beneficiaries and recipients of the top-down technologies. I think it also link what we'll discuss in the global land grabbing meeting in Bogota in next March, and also maybe hoping also discuss in the next ICAR in Bogota 2005 or 2006. Number 4, as IFAD tries to mobilize climate financing, we call on IFAD to set up regular permanent grant facility for direct financing to FOs for FOs work to adapt and mitigation climate change. Of course, for my opinion, our opinion in Rafiq Amsina, how it is not part of the greenwashing. So this grant facility can be used by FO to support its work, first providing economy services to their members, such as in accessing international credit and skill training from various gov institutions, developing and implementing their own business model, transitioning to and maintaining agroecology system, effectively using digital technologies such as platform to sell value-added products, branding and promotion, certification, etc. And then strengthening access to local market, strengthening exchange amongst farmers like Farmers Feed School, and strengthening partnership with government and other development for procurement, sustainability, grown and processing processed product of our member. So it's my opinion that how we can analyze what happened from 2023 until 2020 until today. So as the kajin about how the result of the program, so we can analyze it is already done or it is still considered, and also what I can say about the greenwashing. Second, engage in policy making with governments, such as in implementation of voluntary guidance, small scale service, legal and online tenure at national level, and formulation and implementation of NDIF national and regional action plan with the right to food and UN frameworks. And as I mentioned in our opening remarks, now there is already the resolution of the UN working group on right of patient. Sorry, and the last bullet, the previous phase, yes. And engage in a policy making with government, such as implementation of responsibly managing our own organization, so that we become more trustworthy and reliable partner of government and other development institution. Next. And then FO commitment, as frontline in the work for sustainable, healthy, just food system. We, through our leader and members, commit to join IFAD in resources mobilization and in the waste use of mobilized fund through good project or program management, through lending our collective voice as family farmers in Asia and Pacific, and through effective engagement with decision makers for pro-family farmers policies and programs. We also commit to strengthen our solidarity, knowledge, exchange, and movement building through FAFO processes at national and regional level. Thank you. So I will give it back to Bibong.
Okay, thank you very much, Zainal Fuad, for some recommendation that is important for us. So for the next, this is the important too for we have to knowing about the IPR trends in the partnership and key elements of draft of approach paper. Please, Marco Kamekni, you have 10 minutes to give us information about the trend of partnership. You unmute, please.
Sorry,
Yes.
can you give me the right to share screen, if possible?
Nani, can you help me?
Yes. Yeah, it's now allowed.
Let me see. Okay, I think it works. Let me see if it works. Tell me if you can see it.
Yes, we can see, Marco.
Okay, see, because I was trying to see if I can put in the presentation mode, but okay, I don't want to waste too much time with that. Just 1 second, see if I can make it. See. Okay, I continue because otherwise we don't have enough time. So what I want to show to you is very quickly is I already mentioned a little bit about the trends. So I now would like to basically explain something else, which is basically the idea of the approach paper, which was something that we discussed and we basically developed over the past year. The idea is to basically take stock and build on lessons learned on IFAD-FO's partnership, as I presented before, and try to think about where we are going with this partnership. So the approach paper is not a formal strategy or policy, which is normally approved by the IFAD Executive Board, but could be a first step in that direction if necessary, or if there is interest in doing that. It's important that this is built really on the good practices of our work together. So, for example, on the principle of engagement, some of them are very important, like the co-construction. So whatever we do is actually jointly prepared by farm organization and IFAD together. The importance in joint advocacy, joint mobilization of resources, etc., etc. The idea is also have a long-term vision. And sort of theory of change. So basically, we would like to see where we are going with sort of what is our vision for the future of this relationship, our partnership, and what we want to change as a result of this partnership. At the same time, we would like to be a bit more careful about results. You know that in the development sector, as in any other sector now, is increasingly important to show evidence of results. So we want to sort of link our joint work with a clear result framework. And this could be also a way to mobilize additional funds, from partners, from donors. Also, we want to, differentiate the modalities of engagement, because clearly when we work at the local level, at the country level, we work in certain ways, but when we work at the regional, global is a different type of engagement. So we want to also pay attention to this kind of differences, and then identify key actions that can be become commitments for IFAD, but also from farm organizations. The process we went through is basically during the past year, we have been, doing this analysis, drafting a draft of the approach paper, which was actually circulated to you, even though we already have a second version, which is a little bit building on some of the comments we received. There was a first review by IFAD in December last year. The idea is to present it and discuss, in the global meeting of the Farmers Forum in a few weeks, in February. And then from there, so to consolidate and prepare something that can become a roadmap for the future IFAD engagement. What are some of the elements of this? One of the elements is the what. So basically, we want to discuss what are the key areas in which the partnership between IFAD and farm organization is extremely important, and what are the areas which farm organization can play a very important role in contributing, as some of the people said before, contributed to rural development, contributed to food security, contributed to nutrition, and to improvement of the livelihood in the rural areas. So we identify preliminarily 3 areas: so sustainable natural resource management and resilient production systems. So the key role the farm organization play in this area. Of course, also promoting transition from conventional to, let's say, more resilient production system, for example, including agroecology, but also, facilitating access to climate financing, which is a big topic we will discuss later in this meeting. The second area is related to economic services that farm organization offer to their membership, access to markets, marketing, but also access to technology, improvement of the quality of the produce, value addition, and again, access to finance, the possibility of also, getting involved in the financial system. So this is another inclusion in value chain, for example. This is a big area of work. And the third one is the advocacy policy dialogue. But we had another point, which is social cohesion, because we really believe that, farm organizations have shown during the pandemic the key role they play also in the social space as a social cohesion actors. So we consider this as a vital role. And, one of the pillars of the current IFAD replenishment process, by the way, replenishment, I didn't explain before, IFAD every 3 years goes through a recapitalization process, which is called replenishment. And so in that process, identify some priorities that are discussed and agreed upon with the member states, which are the governments that are members of IFAD, so basically almost all the governments in the world. And actually, fragility and working fragility context is one of the pillars, one of the 3 priorities. So again, the role of farm organizations in working that context is extremely valuable if we want to recognize it. And this is really about the what. So maybe in your working group discussion, you could elaborate more, and you can validate whether these are really the 3 areas in which you play a role, and also you can receive support from organizations like IFAD to be even more effective in what you do. The idea is then really looking at this as a theory of change. So, you cannot see really what is in this table, but just to show, you could apply a sort of logic of, theory of change that we apply, for example, to projects, saying, okay, what are the challenges in these areas? What are the action areas? What are the expected outputs and outcomes? And then the impact in the end is that, in 10-year time, we want to have the members of farm organization, the smallholders, the fishers, the pastoralists, that can have a healthy and sustainable food systems, and then you have a better livelihood in rural areas, which is really the objective, common objective that we have. And then the second,
2 minutes.
yes, okay. And then the second dimension I would like you to reflect on is on the how. So the first one is the what, and the second one is the how. And on the how is really about the relationship between IFAD and the farm organizations. And for example, here we have some example. We probably need to have, as we discussed already, involvement of farm organization in IFAD operations at the country level, in the design, implementation of projects and strategies. The second area could be, joint resource mobilization to get additional funds to support what we were presenting before on the what. The third one could be consultation processes at a country level, but also at the global level. So the Farmers Forum is a good example. Replenishment is a good example. There is an interest of the farm organization to get involved also as observer in the IFAD executive board. So there are other alternatives to strengthen even more the role of farm organization as a key partner to be consulted in IFAD governance. And then finally, adapted systems and tools and capacity building and training, not only for farm organization, but also for example, the project management units that are working in the IFAD funded projects, and even IFAD staff, to basically, again, build awareness of good practices of engaging each other. That's a little bit what I wanted to present. Thank you very much, and of course, I'm very much looking forward to your feedback. Thanks. Over.
Okay, thank you very much for Marco Kamagni and then Zainal Fuad. We already have some recommendation, maybe knowing about the threats of participation and key elements of draft approach paper. So we are going to the country discussion. So we just only have 20 minutes. It's very tight times. So each country grouping will be give the guide a question and will assign of the breakthrough. Oh, okay, sorry. Raise hand. Okay, gini. Hello? Hello, okay. Thank you. Gitika, you raise hand?
Yes.
Okay.
I joined this meeting today only, the first time. I joined IFAD like 5 months back. And it is really very, very interesting, the discussion that's happening. I have just one small question that since it is going on for last 20 years, do you have any example that the recommendation from these, Farmers Forum actually got included into any of the countries' strategy and policy of any of the countries? I mean, which can then be an example for other countries as well. Over. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
You're muted, Bibo.
Hello. Okay. Okay, we are going to country discussion because we have just only 20 minutes. It's country grouping. So Nia will moderate country discussion. The guide question is the below. Please wait. We can to share screen. Yeah, we have the guidelines. We allocate 1.5 hours. We have 2 round breakouts. Country breakouts is more going to be 20 minutes, not 30 minutes. And then sub-regional breakout is 20 minutes too. And then after that, we have 2 set of question. One from IFAD FO engagement, and then IFAD approach a paper. So we can to go the break room and then the virtual guide question in the every country level. We have the 3 questions. Okay, maybe Lani can help to us to going to the break room.
Yes, Irish, please guide them to the breakout rooms.
Miss Esther raised her hand.
Basically, yes, I was just trying to respond to Gitika's question that I wrote in the chat, and also Jing Pakturan wrote in the chat. So basically, Gitika, your question can be answered during the country and sub-regional groupings. Thank you.
Okay, we will now open the breakout rooms.
Yes, please.
شنو داني؟ কে এখানে নষ্ট হয় না ওদের কি কোডগুলো রাখি গ্রামের মধ্যে
Hello. We wait the others to go back the break room. Okay. Hi all. You already back to the main room? If yes, we come to going to the super regional sharing is only we have 20 minutes for three one for three category. It's the Southeast Asia, including Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and Timor-Leste. The internal moderator for Southeast Asia is by Bernie Galang, Southeast Asia coordinator from AFA. And the second, the East and Central and South Asia, including it's from China, Mongolia, Kyrgyzstan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. And then the internal moderator is Amirul Islam from ICSA coordinator AFA. And the third regional area is Fiji, Samoa, Vanuatu, Solomon Island, Cook Island, Timor-Leste, and then the others. We're going to the break room again at the sub-regional sharing is we have a time for 20 minutes and then with the sum question, and then after that we are go back to the plenary after and have we have a question and answer is around 12 minutes. So we can to going to the break room with the three sub-regional sharing. Southeast Asia, East, Central and South Asia.
Can you speak?
And then the others is from Pacific. Hello? Yes?
Yes, it's clear. Now clear.
It's clear now. Going to the back to the sub-regional sharing with three category in 20 minutes. Thank you. Nanti kita
Hello, Irish. We are in the main meeting room, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Hello. I wait the others from the
Yes.
others break room. Maybe we are going to the next step for the plenary reporting and then a question and answer. We just only have 12 minutes from now. It's very tight time. Sorry. And then 5
Yes, very
minutes
tight. Very
from
tight.
per sub-region. Maybe we can to try to from the Southeast Asia.
Hello.
Hello. You can make a plenary reporting.
Yes, sure. How many minutes do we have? Actually, it's
4
very
minutes.
short.
It's sub-region.
Okay,
4
yeah, it's
minutes.
going to be
Yeah.
very short. We were not able to finish anyway. Okay, so
Okay.
briefly, for Southeast Asia, for question number 1, we are affirming the active participation of, can you see my screen?
Yes, I see.
Okay.
Yes, we
Okay, thank you. So I think what we affirm is for some of the countries, we affirm that IFAD is engaging the FOs in the COSO processes. But also in the country reports, in the other countries, some FOs are not included in the COSO processes. So, and yeah, the FOs some are happy with their engagement in the design and monitoring of projects, but some are not included at all. So it differs from country to country. There is also a recommendation that FOs should read carefully the full document. Most of the participants, especially in Southeast Asia, were not able to read the full document. So before we are able to provide recommendations to it, so we need to study it further. And with regards to the natural resource management, there is a point there. I think actually it should be in the second question. So that's all we were not able to finish. These are just the points that we were able to come up with for question number 1. For guide question number 2, yeah, we are affirming that the objective of the approach paper is to engage FO, but there should be a concrete action that will obligate IFAD to really engage FO from the design up to the monitoring and evaluation stages of program. And there are also some differences, like it is difficult to engage with the existing FO the existing FO that are organized by the government, and because there is a difference in perspective with the FOs that are managing the regional programs, then there is some kind of difficulty in coming together to co-implement the IFAD country programs. And yeah, also in relation to the natural resource management, the important point there is the access to resources, no? And some other points there are important, but there is some observations that there's seemingly a lacking point, which is access. And on climate financing, the fund should come from the government instead of the private companies. So that's all we were able to come up with. Thank you so much. That's all from Southeast Asia.
One more, Bernie, sorry.
Yes.
One more. I think joint participation in this menentukan itu set of the locus of the program. yes, discussion with involve NFO in this IFAD country program in setting program locus.
Location. Okay, thank you, Rifai. Okay, we are going to the East, Central, and South Asia with moderator with Amirul Islam. You have
Yeah,
4 minutes.
thank you. Thank you for thank you for I think from East, Central, and South Asia we had Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Kyrgyzstan, and Nepal. So I would like to request now the Megaben. Megaben, can you please present the result of this our discussion?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Can you help me out to present?
You can share your screen, Megaben.
I can't. Okay. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
So
Yes.
basically,
We can see.
so active participation were around for 6 countries: India, Nepal, Kyrgyzstan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. In the country COSOPs, we did not had enough time to discuss except the COSOP agenda. But overall suggestion is India suggested that India said that SEWA was invited in COSOP review processes and the presentation time. But sorry for disturbance. But for the preparation processes, we were not involved. The FOs felt that the communication with the country offices has improved, but there is a need for active participation in COSOP processes. The other suggestion is there is a need to have a dialogue between IFAD, government, and FOs to actively participate FOs in each processes because if our country programs have priority which government has and in terms of the agenda, in terms of geography. So in many of these cases, the FOs are not included because of these. So we need to find solution for this. Other suggestions from India are Indian IFAD has a very big contribution to the agriculture. Sorry, there are different aspects. I'll go. Nepal said that there should be a funding to the business plans and capacity building of FOs by IFAD country offices. Experience and modality adaptation should be there. Exchange visits, peer-to-peer visits should be there. The second is importance to maintain database of impact studies carried out by IFAD country program should be shared to all FOs. The SSU credit to landless farmers and capacity building program of landless farmers and the women farmers should be given priority. Identification of the policy hurdles, mainly around agro enterprises owned by the small family farmers, should be taken up, and the continuation of ARISE fund and some matching fund, additional fund to be disbursed to small and marginal farmers. The way ARISE is providing funds. So IFAD country program should also support in that way. Kyrgyzstan said that the National Association of Water Users and Forest and Land Users of Kyrgyzstan who participated in discussion, they said that role of IFAD is important in contributing to pastorals at local level, and the forest and land users continue work with IFAD country program in family farming and agriculture in general. Bangladesh said that they have discussed on IFAD country. They have participated on IFAD country programs in 2 ways. One is healthy street food in sea beach area where training capacity building programs and some maybe the vehicles have been given. And second is about the indigenous poultry development program, and some equipments were also given, which impacted 700 dry fish fishers got benefit. Pakistan has mobilized a farmers organization in using organic fertilizer, not only using but preparation and supply. And second important aspect is with the dialogue with the government, and in partnership with the government, they could establish farmers market, which one already has started working since September, and second will start working in March or April. They
Magna,
said that
1 minute.
they are not
1 minute.
aligned with the IFAD country program. They tried a lot to align, but not succeeded. Sri Lanka said that IFAD country program coordination should be strengthened in project designing part and collaboration with the existing programs to help sustain and implement the programs. There are further recommendations, but they may be included, I think. So thank you very much, everyone. And some countries could not participate, so their representation is missing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Megha Desai, for your simple presentation. And then for the last one is from the Pacific.
Nigaman, can you unshare your screen? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. For the Pacific, we have a guiding document, which is our declaration of commitment signed between IFAD and farmer organizations back in 2016. And so as we try to assess the partnership at the country level, we have some very concrete examples of, first off, where farmer organizations are actively involved in the design of new IFAD projects, because this is one of our target outcomes. And here you can see a list of the new projects where farmer organizations have been actively involved in the design. And in the second one, we can see that farmer organizations should be actively involved in the implementation. And we have two projects where the farmer organizations are partially implementing, and then another 4 projects where the farmer organizations are fully implementing. So we can see these are all happening since we signed this declaration of commitment, which really has guided the relationship between the last 3 IFAD country program managers and farmer organizations. We also can see that there is a good opportunity to connect our farmer organizations with IFAD staff, but also project managers. And previously, we have done this through our organization is contracted to host the portfolio review of IFAD. So this gives us an opportunity to directly engage with the project managers, who are oftentimes representatives from governments and things. And then finally, working with IFAD to raise awareness on key policy issues. And in this regard, we have done joint events with IFAD 2016, 2019, and 2023, directly targeting heads of agriculture and ministers of agriculture. And so we see some good concrete examples, but we still see that there are many opportunities to expand on this partnership. We also have to always share the context for the Pacific. So most of the Pacific Islands don't have any IFAD projects. Maybe only they participate in a regional project. So as the portfolio grows in the Pacific, then there will be more opportunities for national farmer organizations to engage with their government in regard to, the loan programs. But also for everyone's information, IFAD opened its office in the Pacific only last year, and they have grown their staff significantly. So this provides more of an opportunity for our national farmer organizations to directly link with those staff. And finally, our discussion centered around working to assess and accredit farmer organizations to be grant ready. And this is something we see we could do in partnership with IFAD that will show governments and IFAD programs that these farmer organizations have the financial management capacity, the governance.
Can I finish? Yeah.
And
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kyle. I think we have the very tight times, but we can to just to say there is a lot of areas so we to improve between IFAD and FO. So we should continue to have exchange and dialogue with IFAD at the same level for national, regional, and global. So thank you very much for joining in this session. Very interesting and then very info. Thank you very much. And then we are going to the next session.
Thank you, Bibong. The discussions have been very rich at the country and the sub-regional level. I joined some of the breakout sessions just to get a feel of the dynamism and the interactiveness of each group. And I really feel you when you say that the time is so short, no? But this is the only time allocation that we could give right now, as agreed upon by the FAFO Steering Committee members in Asia Pacific as well as IFAD. But that doesn't mean that we can put on hold what we would like to comment on. So there is still time for you to give your inputs through written feedback. So you could give it to the farmers, to your affiliate partner farmer organization. Or to your country NIA, and we will make sure that your inputs and feedback, even after this forum, will be incorporated in the final inputs that the FAFO SC of Asia Pacific will provide during the global FAFO. So, but now we go to the session 3. It's a thematic discussion, and the discussion will focus on climate resilience and biodiversity, as well as climate financing. During the opening remarks of our steering committee representatives in the Asia Pacific Regional FAFO, everyone mentioned about the challenges of family farmers on climate change, and the reality is the effects of climate change is really threatening the very survival of family farmers and agriculture rural communities. We face a massive loss of biodiversity, which also affects our yields, our incomes, and the health of our soil. And we know that family farmers are solution providers in also the opening remarks and in the country discussions. You have mentioned all the things that you are doing, which are really good for the environment as well as for the health of the people. But we need financing. We need adequate financing to scale up our work. So this thematic session that we are having now is about what are the opportunities for further partnerships between farmers organizations and IFAD, so that we could leverage the financing that we have right now and have more financing directed to our organizations so that we could effectively scale up our work. So we will have two speakers, one from IFAD and one from the farmer organization. So first, we would like to call on our speaker from the IFAD, so Ms. Dilva Terzano, who is the IFAD Technical Specialist on Climate Finance. Ms. Dilva, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mrs. Chair. I also call my colleague Marion because we were giving the presentation together. So perhaps Marion, would you like to start?
Yes, but if you can share the screen, I don't see the presentation. If you can maybe share the presentation, but I can, yeah, for sure. For the meantime, I can give at least maybe the outline on something. Oh, okay, you have it now. Perfect. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, everyone. We are really happy to make this presentation. So next, so how we structured the presentation will remind also the link between climate and biodiversity. As I would really like you to really bring the two topics a bit together, and I'll explain why. What our mandate and the commitment on finance, what we do on it, what are the main requirements of climate and biodiversity funds, and then discuss a bit some of the opportunity we see for farmers' engagement in finance pipeline and in policy. Next. So first, a very quick overview of biodiversity as well. As I mentioned, biodiversity is rising on the political scene, resources are getting there, and I think it's very important for farmers to also bring the biodiversity and nature topics. So biodiversity is not only about protection of pandas, animals, orangutan. This is very important, but biodiversity is also the genetic diversity of seeds, of animals, of land race, of agrobiodiversity, the difference of species, agrobiodiversity, and the diversity and integrity of ecosystems. And you know that this directly connects to your productivity and soil health, as mentioned by Estelle, but also this practice that diversify species, genetics, ecosystem can help reduce pests and diseases. It can help address climate change. When you restore ecosystem, you fight climate change, you have more resilience, and you mitigate climate. It can create new opportunity for livelihood. And of course, it's also closely connected to your cultural and traditional knowledge. Next. And over to Silva now to move on the finance opportunity.
Thank you, Mario. So as you mentioned, and as also nicely put by our meeting chair, Esther, farmers are at the front line of changes in climate and nature itself. Agriculture is undoubtedly a source and beneficiary of nature-based solutions, which can combine climate change adaptation, mitigation, disaster risk reduction, biodiversity conservation, but also sustainable resource management. So from a climate finance perspective, IFAD, as you all know, I'm sure, is a UN agency, but is also an IFI, an international financing institution, meaning it provides its own resources in the type of loans and grant resources towards climate, but also biodiversity-related intervention to support countries in reaching their NDCs, so their national determined contribution. IFAD also supports developing countries in mobilizing and accessing climate and environment finance from global funds, such as the Adaptation Fund, the Green Climate Fund, and the Global Environment Facility. IFAD strategic framework is fully aligned with the UNFCCC Paris Agreement, especially its strategic objective 3 of strengthening the environmental sustainability and climate resilience of poor rural people's economic activities. During its most recent replenishment, IFAD, meaning IFAD 12, IFAD has committed to allocate a certain share of its program of loan and grants to climate, and that share is 40%. meaning 40% of all of IFAD's investments are targeted towards climate adaptation and climate mitigation. A share of that, and especially 30%, is specifically targeting nature-based solutions. So these are the targets under IFAD 12, which goes from 2022 to 2024. And it shows really IFAD's commitment to this agenda. Another target is to mobilize by 2025 500 million from the Global Environment and Climate Fund. Moving on, as I was mentioning to you, out of the 40% target, IFAD has already reached 37%, meaning 500 million of climate finance focused operations have been approved since 2022, so under IFAD 12. 15% of that is going towards APR, so Asia and Pacific region. And in Asia Pacific, there's an average of approximately 25 million per project that goes towards climate finance. So these are just a few interesting data. On supplementary environment and climate financing, as I was mentioning to you, IFAD has a target of mobilizing a certain amount, meaning of supporting developing country in accessing this financing. IFAD is really only a channel of these funds. IFAD is an accredited entity to the three main global environment and climate funds. It is accredited to the GEF since 2004, to the Adaptation Fund since 2010, and to GCF since 2016. Interestingly, to point out that channeling funds to sovereign operation is mainly the process, but also to the private sector. Interesting to note that very recently, only 3 months ago, IFAD's first project funded by GCF to private sector in East Africa was approved. So we are starting to work more and more with the private sector. Another interesting program is the Adaptation for Smallholder Agricultural Program, which is IFAD's flagship program for channeling climate and environmental finance to smallholder. ASAP 1 started in 2012 and received 300 million from donors to the benefit of 8 million people in more than 40 countries. The enhanced ASAP program, which is called ASAP Plus, is a 100% climate financing mechanism, which is currently under replenishment from donors, dedicated to channeling climate finance to smallholders. It's targeted to reach $500 million US dollars and is expected to benefit 10 million people. To date, ASAP Plus received a little bit more than 90 million in pledges. So just briefly, before giving the floor back to my colleague Marie-Aude, we wanted to share with you some highlights about the global funds requirement. Many aspects are common to the three funds, such as, for example, the alignment with the NDCs, but also with the national biodiversity strategies and action plan when projects being designed are focused on biodiversity, of course. Another aspect which is interestingly more and more welcomed by these global funds is cross-fund partnership. Meaning basically climate finance that leverages climate finance. So a GEF-funded project which partners with the GCF in order to leverage an adaptation fund resources. Innovation, I don't have to mention this into detail, but of course, these global environment funds welcome and are really a platform for piloting innovative practices when it comes to agriculture. Differentiated financing instruments is also another aspect that is more and more looked into by these funds. And just to point out that the thematic areas of these funds are slightly different. So the Adaptation Fund, like its name, is focused only on climate adaptation. GEF has more focal areas in the sense that it has biodiversity, climate change, land degradation, international waters, and so on. And it also has integrated programs. And the GCF thematic areas, so since its creation, GCF has maintained a 50-50% split between resources that go towards mitigation and adaptation, but always around the areas of food, livelihood, energy, forest and land use, ecosystems, and green infrastructure. An interesting aspect is the fact that requirements related to stakeholder engagement are common to all of these funds. Stakeholder engagement plans, gender plans, youth plans, indigenous people plans are highly regarded and scrutinized, and a big priority not only for IFAD but also for these funds. All these funds welcome and prioritize initiatives that work with local actors, and this is where I open the floor for the next phase of the presentation. In order to build their capacities, so of course, farmers' organizations are key in such role. And IFAD's comparative advantage is really to create that channeling. So working with the farmers' organization and global environment and climate funds really value this aspect of the partnership with IFAD. Marie-Aude, over to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, and I wanted to give some highlights. So as you saw, a lot on environment, then people's engagement, it's still weak, but it's going more and more. Notably, following the adoption of the Global Biodiversity Framework last 2 years, the Global Biodiversity Fund has already been launched and is hosted in GEF. It has, for the first tranche of funds, 2 main goals: conservation, restoration, and spatial planning of ecosystem. So that includes a lot agriculture and how to have shared land use and how to conserve. And what is interesting is that the second focal area is support to indigenous people and local community stewardship and governance of natural resource. And then this policy, resource mobilization, and we can also try to get more on use of biodiversity, such as agroecology, and mainstreaming biodiversity in agriculture as secondary priority. But what is very important and interesting is that because the Global Biodiversity Framework put food systems and people at the heart of the framework, if you are familiar to that. So the GBFF is also getting more a people-driven focus. 20% of the resources should try to go to indigenous people and local communities driven conservation, restoration, and sustainable use. So really locally driven initiative driven by, including by farmers organization. In addition, the Global Biodiversity Framework emphasizes a whole of society approach. So the GBFF also mentioned that, and clearly also takes the right-based approach of the GBFF. So it means that on focal area 2, maybe we can work on the land that you said is one of the big issues, access to natural resource, which we know is a big issue on this agenda. Selection criteria, accordingly, will include policy coherence across ministries, private sector, and civil society, meaning engaging with farmers should be definitely a plus, and we could maybe leverage that. Mobilization of private sector and philanthropic resources, and engagement with and support to indigenous people and local communities. So this is a very, I've put it in red, a disclaimer. So the Global Biodiversity Framework Fund has just been launched. The amounts now, I don't know if Paula is there, I think it's less than 300 million for all the countries. So it's a progressive start, and we would like to try to get one proposal from IFAD side. So, but once maybe that's something we could try to work together to see whether there are opportunity there and for you to get engaged, and I will bring the elements later. Next step, next slide. So we've highlighted two main maybe opportunity we could work and discuss later. One is we are co-leading with FAO the GEF Global Food System Integrated Program that targets 32 countries across the globe. We lead 5, including Malaysia for the region, but we are co-leading the whole initiative, and they are working on the governance. So one of the entry points we were thinking is how we can maybe better integrate farmers in the food system assembly that is being planned or mechanism. So that's maybe follow-up working discussion. And yeah, for you to be well aware, because obviously food system connects with value chain, partnership between farmers, organization, and so on. The other thing, and Dilva can provide more details, is a GCF-funded project that have been recently approved, Arcafim, Griffin, and so on, that have private sector, but notably work with bank for green finance. And the main beneficiaries are farmers' organization and small processing organizations, so that they can invest on the resilience of smallholder to address current and future climate risks. So I think that's an opportunity to work further together. A third area is to try to see how we can, to have working group to see how we can design indeed this green finance pipeline with stronger engagement of farmers' organizations. We have example of GEF project in Chad, Togo, and Uganda that are doing that, but that's because it builds on IFAD pipeline and project that are already engaging farmers' organizations. And probably, I mean, we have Fanny here. I think she's been very proactive in building the GAFSP pipeline and this. So I don't know, we can discuss lessons on how it worked, but maybe we can see how we can do that better in the future. Finally, the other window is the CSO windows. So this green fund have funding. So GEF has about 150 million for small scale grant windows. We have a very small one with what we call the CSO challenge window that can go up to maybe 1 million, and that can be co-led with the farmers organization. So the call is not yet out. We had 2 proposals in the last call with BNP Paribas and with Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. So for instance, we could try to see if that's something interesting, if you are ready for that. The other thing is how, I don't know how well you are aware of a number of other small grant windows of the GEF. They have regular national call, and they prioritize community-based conservation, sustainable agriculture, low carbon energy access. So I don't know how many of you are aware and try to use it. And there are a lot of other CSO windows with IUCN on ecosystem-based adaptation, Conservation International on critical ecosystem restoration, and so on. So maybe that's a line. This one is a direct access, but maybe we can work towards that. Next. So the other thing that is very important, so you heard, to get access to this finance, we need alignment to the national development, I mean the NDCs, the NAPs, the National Adaptation Plan, and the NBSAPs, which are the National Biodiversity Plan, and the country policies. And in addition, you need to get interest and agreement from the government dedicated focal point in the Ministry of Environment. But we know that's a big problem sometimes, because this is a Ministry of Environment. Sometimes agriculture is not well represented, or maybe even that's seen as an enemy. And there are potential risks also of this project if we don't consider that. So we think that in line with strengthening farmers' engagement in the pipeline, I think we need to also work towards stronger engagement of farmers' organization in policy, starting maybe with the National Biodiversity Strategy, because they are currently being updated. And because, as we said, the Global Biodiversity Framework emphasizes a whole of society and a whole of government approach. So the people in the country are supposed to involve you. And it's supposed to have a people right, decision-making role, access to resource. So the things are there in the global framework. So I don't know how many of you are engaged and have been called upon. That would be interesting, and how we can design that, because then projects will need to align to these NBSAPs, and that will build you also a recognition. Finally, we could also discuss on the lessons from the COP28 participation and see how to strengthen participation and advocacy for COP29 and the COP16 at the end of the year, and discuss what is needed for that. Capacities, more evidence, how we can leverage partnership with sister organizations that are also doing the same. But likely, yes, we'll need to mobilize also resources to engage in this area of work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dilva and Marie-Aude. Marie-Aude, it's nice to see you again after the October meeting. And thank you for this comprehensive description of the opportunities that farmers organizations can have in accessing climate finance for the work that we do. I'm very happy to note that there is a good increase in the targeting of the funds of IFAD, the portfolio of IFAD, as well as the accreditation that IFAD currently has with big climate financing facilities, and the opportunities that you have identified in terms of proposing projects. Although I would be happier to see that in your last slide about the opportunities that there will be more countries in Asia that will be identified. So we will have a slight change in our program because the director of the Asia Pacific division of IFAD has to leave by 5 o'clock. We would like to call her now to give her remarks as in this regional FAFO meeting. So we would like to call on Rihanna Raza, director of the Asia Pacific division of IFAD.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you for, and nice to see you again, and to see you on screen. I often bump into Esther in Rome a couple of times last year. So thank you, everyone. Good morning from Rome, good afternoon, and good evening to all colleagues. It's an honor to be here. As you're aware, I attended virtually the second regional FAFO meeting last October.
Rihanna, just to interrupt you, can you position yourself and the camera so that we can see your full face?
I think that's the best I can do.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And there's a lot of sunshine, as you can see in Rome, so hopefully you can get me. Okay. Thank you, sorry. I was going to say, as you're aware, I attended virtually the second regional FAFO meeting in October of 2022. At that time, I was the new regional director for APR, and I also had the honor of delivering the closing remarks on behalf of the Asia Pacific division here at IFAD. So again, it's a pleasure to be here to join you remotely in this third regional meeting of the Farmers Forum, together with other IFAD colleagues. And I've been listening in and out for the last hour and getting a feel for the deliberations that you are all having, which has been very, very interesting for me. First of all, let me thank everyone, the farmer representatives and IFAD colleagues, for organizing this meeting. Your participation has always been crucial in defining the evolving IFAD and farmers organization collaboration, which has started some 15 years ago and which is now in the midst of transforming into a long-term strategic partnership. Secondly, I would like to commend FAFO's Regional Steering Committee for holding the Asia Pacific meeting in preparation for the Global FAFO meeting that's coming in February this year. The Global Forum is a great opportunity to take stock of the accomplishments and challenges and the actions we have taken to further IFAD and farmers' organizations' collaboration for the benefit of smallholders and respective farmer organizations. It's also an opportune time to reflect on good practices and innovations in the work that we have been doing, and which we can vigorously promote and replicate. And also, I think, given what Marie-Aude and Diva just presented and the other opportunities that are coming up and positioning ourselves for those opportunities. Third, I'm happy to note that this regional meeting has covered thematic discussions on climate change resilience, biodiversity conservation, and smallholder access to finance. These are all well within the priorities and programs of IFAD in the Asia Pacific countries. And I believe this meeting has afforded an opportunity for IFAD country staff to share with you IFAD's projects and activities that are in line with these thematic areas. The time may be short, but the step towards continuing to such discussion and collaboration should continue in the near future. I'm aware that there are challenges for farmers' organizations to take part in the government projects financed by IFAD, but I've heard some good ideas and suggestions and practices shared here by some of you who have taken part either as beneficiaries or partner service providers in IFAD investment projects. I urge you to continue talking to each other, talking to your IFAD colleagues to find ways for improved partnership and better involvement and collaboration in IFAD programs and projects. Fourth, I'm also encouraged that you have discussed today the draft approach paper on IFAD and farmers organizations partnership. I'm glad that the thematic discussions and workshops result in this meeting resonate very well with the context of that paper. In the past, IFAD and Farmers Organization Partnership has grown through various grant project finance, mostly by the European Union and internally by IFAD. But this approach paper is taking our partnership to the next level based on the principles of one, mutual recognition and shared understanding of each other's way of functioning, constraints and requirements. Number two, co-construction of programs and strategies. Number three, joint advocacy to mobilize resources at the EU FO program, etc. Enhanced regular dialogue between IFAD and farmers' organizations based on farmers' forums mechanism. Aside from the discussions you've had today, the approach paper has also gone through various consultations within IFAD, and at the same time will be discussed further in the Global Forum this February in order to validate and discuss the operational implications, including a timeline and indicators for action areas, which will serve as a reference for future engagement at different levels between our two organizations. Fifth, as many of you are involved in the ongoing grant projects financed by the EU, I'm happy to report that the results of the recent midterm review for those farmer organizations development-driven projects are encouraging. The program is going in the directions of the midterm targets, with farmers organizations that have been reached and provided economic services with a significant number attaining economic maturity. This indicates that the farmers organizations are well positioned to mobilize resources and engage in the 4P approach to enhance economic activities for their members. On the indicator on access to markets, the accomplishments have exceeded the end targets for marketed quantity, and it has surpassed the end targets for total value of market products. While these are inspiring results, let me emphasize also that it's crucial that all actors increase their efforts on delivering these services in order for these economic projects to deliver impact and be sustainable. I'm equally glad that the conduct of the midterm review this time involved that IFAD country officers and staff, which is a step in the right direction for mobilizing potential collaboration and support from IFAD country programs, and an opportunity as well for IFAD financed and government implemented projects to learn from the good practices undertaken by farmers organizations in various countries covered by the grant projects. Finally, I would like to thank the FO leaders, especially Esther, and also I'd like to thank, I think it's Lenba as well, for your vigorous support and participation in IFAD 13's replenishment. Your partnership in this endeavor sends a very significant message to IFAD member states and governments and other IFAD financiers that indeed IFAD's work is very well recognized and highly supported by farmers and farmer organization leaders. We appreciate your highly visible endorsement With your strong support, we hope to be able to generate the financial resources needed to continue to deliver IFAD's mandate in the years to come. Thank you once again to all of you dear FO leaders and my IFAD colleagues for taking part in this important regional meeting. For the FO representatives joining the February Global Forum, I hope to see you soon in Rome and have a chance to talk to you individually. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rihanna, for your very inspiring and encouraging closing remarks. We truly, as farmers organizations, we can confidently say that we really appreciate the partnership that we have with IFAD, especially with the IFAD Asia Pacific Division, for bringing us closer to the government, so we could work with the governments, and as well as we could show also the governments the work that we do in terms of promoting climate resiliency. So we wish you the best in your next meeting.
Thank you. Yes, I'm running late. Thank you very much, Esther, and good luck with the rest of the meeting.
Thank you. Okay. So we will continue with our session on climate resiliency. We would like to call on colleague Lani Rebagay of AFA, who is coordinating the agenda on cooperative business development and who is focusing on climate finance work, to give us some thoughts, to first give us some highlights of our work on accessing climate finance, and then also give some perspectives on how we could maximize the opportunities that IFAD is giving to us as farmers organizations. Lani?
Thank you, Esther. In the interest of time, I will only be focusing on some of the needs and demands for IFAD on financing. Of course, in the program, we need to highlight what are the challenges faced by FOs in accessing finance, but all of us already knows it. So perhaps we can proceed to what are our demands and are the needs that we would like to ask IFAD to kindly consider in terms of financing. So first is, we only have 3 points here. Number one is to recognize federated cooperatives and farmers organization federation as service providers and conduit for financing small-scale farmers. Most of the financing of IFAD, as already mentioned during the country breakout and sub-regional breakout, is going to the governments. There is there are, of course, good reason for that, but we understand that if we want to really reach out to individual farmers, then we have to maximize and utilize the federated structure of FOs as a conduit. So in line with this, we would like to request IFAD to increase the regional grants such as the APFP, FO4A, ARISE, directed to FOs to enable FOs to engage effectively in country program. If we do not have financing to national FOs, they cannot have resources to work with the IFAD country program. But if we have some resources regionally accessed and provided to national farmers organization, then they have a source of funding that can be used to promote engagement with IFAD and the government. Particularly, these regional grants can continue to support the consolidation of cooperatives or farmers' federation in building themselves and strengthening themselves, particularly in setting up economic services, providing business plan development, digitalization, and of course, allowing them to expand their membership and improving their governance, and particularly support for policy engagement at national, regional, and global level to make financing accessible to small farmers, including the advocacy to right to productive resources, because always we need collaterals, and if we cannot show that we have an access and control over our resources, then we are considered not bankable. So first, we also need to have that policy engagement for a favorable access and to productive resources, land, water, seeds, and energy. Second is, we would like to really strongly encourage IFAD to include FO-friendly financing product and services in IFAD country portfolio. If we can really get the support of IFAD to convince to include in their IFAD country portfolio an innovative financing scheme, no, directed to farmers organization that will support startup funding, incubation fund for those who are already starting economic project, perhaps capital for business expansion, for scaling up their good enterprises, and customizing product that has co-financing to share risk and reduce cost, no? And then the third is increasing climate resilient agricultural investment. This can be the focus for government financing of IFAD. We need more physical infrastructure to reduce the cost of production, no? Irrigation, but these are the energy efficient irrigation, the farm to market roads, more investment on common service facilities, pre and post harvest, which are women friendly facilities, not the very big ones requiring very big energies and cannot be used by women and not accessible to remote villages. Of course, digital connectivity in rural areas, because you want to engage in more digital approach in marketing. So, and of course, enabling policy for transitioning to agroecology. If IFAD country portfolio can include in their country programming this enabling policy for transitioning to agroecology, and of course, climate insurance, and recently during the COP 28 loss and damage fund has already been approved. So how this can be made accessible to farmers. So these are the three major recommendation in terms of financing needs that we would like IFAD to really consider. Of course, there are other issues on financing broader and bigger, not only to IFAD but to rural banks, to commercial banks. But because this is engagement with IFAD, we would like to put forward these three concrete recommendations on improving financing of IFAD to farmers organization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lani, for this very comprehensive and I think really on ground-based recommendations, as we have listened to many of our members and we had discussions amongst the colleagues in the Farmers Forum Steering Committee. Now I would like to open the floor for one or two questions or insights on climate financing. So please, if you could, if you raise your hand, if you have questions, please raise your hand and we could call on the first two participants if we have. Okay, we want to call Sanat and then Mega Ben. Okay, so Sanat, please keep your
Thank you.
comment short, 1 minute.
Yes, thank you, Esther, for giving me the floor. And I'm from Bangladesh, Shanot from Bangladesh. And actually, climate financing is very challenging issue for us to rehabilitate or to adopt the climate vulnerable people. And we are also working with the coastal people in Bangladesh. And we are always emphasis on the family farming and also the resilience building of the vulnerability of the poor people. And what will be the more emphasis by the AFA or APFP for FO, for F and other IFAD programs, and it will be more beneficial for the climate vulnerable people. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanat. While we compose some response to your question, we would like to call on Mega Ben.
Namaste everyone. I would like to suggest 2 more points on climate financing. One is about in the loss and damage fund, we need to see that how the food security is also ensured, and food security should be given a priority to loss and damage fund, and that too through how the local decentralized supply chain. So the money goes in hands of the small and marginal farmers, rural areas, and that also reduces the climate GHG emission. Second is about how we can provide just transition to the women farmers in terms of accessing finance to access to the renewable energy equipments. We have very good cases, and we need to demonstrate and we need to see to the IFAD country programs that climate change biodiversity is not specific to specific geographical regions. So we need to see that the local IFAD country program, unlike other their programs which is focused on specific geographic locations, how it can be distributed to the people, the communities who would like to contribute, irrespective of the priority geographic locations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mega Ben. Surely those are very good suggestions, recommendations that can be done at the country level, and it can strengthen the collaboration and partnership of the national FO at the IFAD country office. And this will also serves also as an invitation for every FO to really document and showcase the success stories about climate resiliency work with women farmers and using, for example, renewable energies and agroecological approaches. As when we provide evidence to the success of our work, then it will inspire development partners and donors to help us further upscale the work that we do. Okay. Can I invite Lani to respond to the question of Sanat?
Yes, Sanat. The APFP FO4A program, which is a regional grant from IFAD, there is a component on economic services which we hope you can use so that you can build the capacity of FO so that they can become credible to access from the mainstream. Or at least we can prioritize supporting agroecological production and marketing, so that we can transition to agroecology. And this thematic is something that is also a priority out of the climate discussion. And second, on policy engagement, we can support policy dialogues, of course, priority with IFAD, with EU, and with governments to promote better access of farmers on finance. So it can support case studies, policy dialogues, and meetings, brainstorming session to design effective financing products for farmers. And of course, in partnership building, institutional strengthening, we want to see how we can comply with FOs becoming an accredited service provider of IFAD. So these are some of the examples on how we can use the funds to strengthen ourselves to access financing. Thank you.
Thank you, Lani. And with that, I would just like to say some my key takeaways from this session. So IFAD is a partner for farmers organizations in our work, not to respond to the challenges brought by the issues of climate change and biodiversity loss. But there are opportunities because IFAD is an accredited institution of big climate finance institutions, and as IFAD itself, they have allocated a big percentage, 30 to 40% of their projects on climate financing. But to us farmers organizations, we have to show our capabilities to manage projects financially, and also show our capacity to implement projects that really provide or that really support climate resiliency and promotion of biodiversity in our farms, fisheries, and forests. But the pathway is there, the opportunity is there, so we have to start. We have to really be stronger in finding the measures and finding the actions that will concretely lead to more climate finance for the work that we do on the ground. So thank you very much for your inputs and your thoughts. We thank Dilva and Marie for their inputs as well, and we will continue follow-up work with you to maximize the opportunities that you have presented. Now, I would like to pass on the moderatorship to Ujjaini Halim of WFF for the closing session. To you, Ujjaini.
Thank you, Esther, and thank you everyone for being with us from the morning till now. And undoubtedly, we are having a very interesting discussion here. Thank you, Esther, for your remarks, and that brings us to the closing session of this regional Asia Pacific Farmers Forum. We are already running behind schedule, so we will try to be brief, 5 to 10 minutes for this session. And without further ado, may I request Kyle Stice from PFON to make some closing remarks reflecting on today's discussion in this regional FAFO process.
Thank you, Ujjaini. I would just like to start by thanking the members of the Asia Pacific FAFO Steering Committee for organizing the meeting, and thank our colleagues from IFAD, Asia Pacific, and especially our colleagues from the new Pacific office. As I think about this partnership between IFAD and farmer organizations, I'm actually reminded of a field that I leased about 12 years ago. And when I got this farm, it was actually quite tough to cultivate. There was rocks and tree stumps, and it took a long time to grow anything. But slowly, the more we cultivated it, the more we planted green manures, added compost, we saw that the farming became easier, and we got to see more and more results. And now, fast forward 12 years, this plot is very fertile, and I'm thinking about the partnership between farmer organizations and IFAD and almost 20 years of this Farmers Forum process, and how so much has been invested, and we can now see and measure that the ground is really fertile, and we need to take advantage of this, and we need to sow more seeds, invest more resources so that we can bring more yield and more harvest, because certainly there are many farmer organizations and many farmers that haven't even been touched by our work. And so our goal collectively in Asia Pacific is to reach more and more farmers. And we see that the platform, the foundation is well established with IFAD, but now we need to build on that and we need to cultivate even more. So again, I would like to thank all of you for a wonderful Farmers Forum, and we hope to take all of this learnings and important points forward into the Global Farmers Forum next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. I think these are perfect closing words that we need to further build on. And today, whatever we are discussing here, this will certainly help us to contribute better in the Global Farmers Forum from this region. Now, may I request Marco Camigni from IFAD for closing remarks, please. Marco, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Gianni.
Okay, thank you.
So many thanks for this very rich conversation. As I said at the beginning, this is part of a process. So I know there is much more that you want to say, and actually was maybe little time in the groups to really, complete the conversation. So I invite you to perhaps complete this kind of conversations, even providing written inputs to the people that are going to travel to Rome in a few weeks, because we really value your feedback, we really value your inputs, and we really want to make this global meeting of the Farmers Forum another key step in this process. Exactly in the direction that was already mentioned very well by the APR regional director. And also I very much like the example of Kyle, that we are really planting seeds and we are really harvesting what we have put in the soil in the past 20 years. And it is a continuous process, And so I think the call to you is, we are together in this, we are partners, and but we need to help each other, in doing our work, in our respective work. So, for example, it's very important the farm organization, takes very seriously this idea about improving their capacity, showing what Esther was saying before, showing their capacity, and become credible and professional partners for governments and organizations like IFAD. This will really increase the chance of getting access to additional resources. It's very important that we build awareness among all the partners, including our colleagues, IFAD colleagues on the ground. Because IFAD goes through some recurrent changes in its staffing, so we need to sort of build this awareness all over again. As was said, in Pacific, for example, there were a number of country directors in the past few years. The plan is really to work in a more systematic way. So basically, we don't depend on one person who is particularly open and working with farm organization, but we have a sort of strategic thinking that goes in that direction from the institution, and the same from you. So it's really, we have a sort of way forward, and we know where we go. And this does not depend on Esther, on Kyle, on myself, but really depend on the strategic agreement that we have to work together. So I think this is a little bit the direction we are taking, and that's a little bit the spirit of the next meeting of the Farmers Forum in Rome, which will be an opportunity to confirm these kind of ideas and try to agree on certain key action points for the future. So many thanks for this conversation, and happy to continue being engaged with your region and with your organizations, and keep up the good work. Thank you very much, and over.
Thank you, Marco, for this very informative and very good concluding remarks. Certainly, there are a lot of hopes there, and we are already working together collectively, and that's a big advantage, and I think already a good achievement for this regional platform at Asia level, Farmers Forum, this regional Farmers Forum at Asia. And we all hope that this regional Farmers Forum process will further keep working together, and our national Farmers Forum processes will also be further strengthened in coming months and years. Today, we have had very interesting discussions on many topics. It's not possible to sum up all these things here, but I'm sure from the Farmers Forum, Regional Farmers Forum Secretariat, we will be circulating the minutes of this discussion. I take this opportunity to thank all the IFAD colleagues who took time out of their busy schedule and contributed to the process. I sincerely thank all my colleagues in this regional Farmers Forum process, who are there in the Secretariat, and who are also there as the members of this regional Farmers Forum process, and who took time to join us today in large numbers, and that's very encouraging. Certainly, the synthesis of this discussion today here, we will bring this to the Global Farmers Forum, and we will keep discussing and keep working together. So with these, if there is no further announcement from the organizer side, so we will be closing this session. But before we go, we still have to take one more photos. So if all these technical aspects are there, it's ready, then we go for photos, and please switch on your videos so we can take a last photo for this regional forum. Are we really taking, I mean, please someone help with this photo session.
Okay. Can you turn on your cameras, please? So again, please smile for at least 5 seconds, because we are 4 pages. So smile, everyone. Lastly, thank you.
Thank you. you very much. And big thanks to AFA, all the AFA colleagues for extending extending help and support to make this, to technically manage this entire thing, and also to give a lot of thematic inputs. Thanks to everyone who participated. Over to Esther, if you have any concluding word to say.
No more concluding remarks. Thank you.
Okay,
for joining.
so
That
wish
is
you all
it.
good evening, good afternoon, and hope to see you in Global Farmers Forum very soon.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
goodbye. Take care.
Many
Well,
thanks.
bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
very much, everyone. Thank you so
Bye. Thank you very much.
much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.